Hey, I'm this guy. I bought some of this on one of these with a couple of those on it to do, well, I don't really know. But I have lofty aspirations and little money. So I give you low budget, high desert. Got a lot of vultures flying around today. I wonder if they know something I don't. Hello and welcome back to another episode of this show. I have a lot of rocks, and those rocks give me a lot of problems. Namely, because when I'm trying to take the mule up the hill, they get in my way. I have to go over them, I have to go around them, I have to straddle the wheels. Oftentimes, it'll try and dump out whatever I'm carrying by tipping over. There's really no suspension on this thing at all. I am the suspension. And to be honest, I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it. So today, I'm going to do something about some of these most egregious rocks that are blocking my path and making me spill stuff. So the problem I'm running into time and time again is that these rocks look a lot smaller when you can only see part of them. But as soon as you start digging around them, you discover that it's just huge. When I dug the outhouse up there were some rocks that were easily over 100 pounds, just massive, the size of my torso. Took Steven's help to get them out. I don't want to have to deal with that, and I also don't want to have to dig a giant hole in the middle of my path. So I'm going to try and break them into smaller pieces. Now I have a pickaxe, and I could do it the old-fashioned way, and I have done it that way too, just repeatedly whacking at it and chipping off little pieces. But I think that there's a better way, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is. This is a masonry drill. It drills into rocks using big old drill bits like this. So it drills, and a hammer in the back hammers, so it drives it in while drilling it out, which makes a pretty big hole. You can see it sort of steps up from that. My idea is that I can probe around with this, weaken the rocks, and also maybe, if it starts spinning faster partway through, get an idea for how thick and big the rocks are. So let's get the generator fired up, chuck a drill bit into the masonry drill, get it all hooked up, and then see what we can do to this rock right here. Let's get it all going. All right. Well, I'd say that worked pretty well. It went right through the rock, and it seems to me like I felt a couple spots where it got easier, so I might have gone all the way through, or maybe I'm just hitting voids in it. Oh, this stuff, I just gotta, that's real fine powder. Let me just, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's keep drilling rocks. All right, so the rock has been drilled a lot. I've drilled the hell out of it. I feel like that's weakened it a good amount, and I also feel like the rock is pretty fucking big. So that brings us on to our next step, making it into smaller rocks. So we've weakened the rock already, and we know it'll be easy to get out in pieces. But how do we do that? Well, we've got to hit it very hard. But how do we do that? For that, we've got to turn to our good friend, Sir Isaac Newton, who, along with discovering apples, also discovered a few things about physics. The second law he came up with for physics is this: force times mass equals acceleration. Now, if we already have a variable like acceleration, we can take a variable from the other side of the equation, like mass, reverse the operation, and determine force. Force is measured in joules, named so because of how much force it takes to compress carbon into a diamond, which is a universal constant. So we have a couple of options here. Option one is the hammer. The hammer weighs 10 pounds or 160 ounces. Google tells me the average swinging speed of a sledgehammer is a little over 30 feet per second. But since I'm weak, let's call it 30 feet per second even. So 30 feet per second divided by 160 ounces equals 0.18 joules. Yikes. An anemic kitten could swipe harder than that. Next we have this. This is a 7/8 ounce shotgun slug, which when fired reaches speeds up to 1,800 feet per second. Using our equation, 1,800 feet per second divided by 0.87 ounces equals 2,057 joules. Now that is a lot of diamonds. This is the clear and obvious winner, so let's set it up. Now, just because I'm the type of idiot to do something dangerous doesn't mean I'm the type of idiot to do something stupid. I've taken the proper precautions. Observe. This is Kevlar body armor, along with level 4 ballistic plates in it. If that can't stop a rock shard, well, then I guess I'm doing something wrong. Hopefully I won't even need it though. I'm gonna try and shoot it at an angle where it hits the side, and then the whole thing just magically cracks. Right? That said, let's move everything valuable out of the way and get to it. Well, that felt a little lackluster. Let's go check it out. There is the hit, and it doesn't seem to have broken the rock into shards. I think we're probably gonna have to hit it again. I don't understand. My calculations were perfect, and yet the rock is still here. I guess we're gonna have to move on to something else. Well, clearly physics has failed me like I failed physics, so we're gonna have to try something new. Lucky for you, I didn't come totally unprepared. I have other options, plenty of them. Let me show you. I have a couple of potent fireworks that I picked up when I was a teenager, and I think that they might be able to do what I need them to, because the pressure will be internal as opposed to coming from one side, right? So let me show you what I got. I got this here, Big Boss flower. Don't be fooled by the name. It's not a crackling ground bloom that spins around and all that stuff. That thing pretty much just blows up. Maybe they had to label it like that for import reasons. And then I have this one, which says, yeah, I don't know, but it does about the same thing. So I'm going to bore out that rock a little bit more in the center, and then hopefully when I drop this in there, it'll explode and break out along the lines that I drilled. We'll see. All right, so it's explosive time. I've unwrapped the big one from its outer casing, and then I've got the small one, of course. I'm going to start with the small one and work my way up. Hopefully I won't need the big one. What I am doing though is using a little bit of extra fuse, because these things are old. This powder is old, and old powder burns a little unpredictably, sometimes faster. So I'm just gonna give myself a little extra time to get away from it. Okay, let's go blow up some rocks. I can't believe it. Still nothing. Time to go bigger. The rock is still here. I only have one idea left. My physics are bad. My explosives are weak. I'm gonna have to try and do this the boring way. My last and final solution is these. These are little wedges that you put into holes that you've bored, and then you pound in with a hammer, and it progressively spreads the hole. And you have a lot of these, there's a dozen of them, and you just keep hitting them in sequence until the rock splits open. Like I said, tremendously boring, not at all exciting, and I'm not even sure if they'll be effective, but it's the only thing I've got left. All right, I'm gonna take this box of wedges, start driving them in, and hopefully that'll do more than what I've been doing. I guess we'll see. Well, would you look at that? I can't believe it, but something is actually giving me results. It's not the cool way, but at this point, I'm willing to have anything work. You may notice that it's smaller than it was before. Making some progress, gonna keep whacking. So you may recognize this part of the rock as the part that you could see. As it turns out, this is the size of the rock after I hit it with the pickaxe and the digging bar. Turns out everything I was doing was totally fruitless, and I should have just used the digging bar from the start to pry it out. At least I've made some sort of progress now, even though it wasn't the progress that I wanted. So I'm gonna roll this thing out of the path and put some of the dirt back. This thing is just a total monster. Probably almost as heavy as I am, even if I am a bit more dense. It's very hard to move around. I'm gonna roll it as far as I can, I guess. But here I am, with my feet in the hole that it created, that I was trying to avoid. Rock wins every time. There is no way that I'm going to be able to get my wedges back out of this thing. I guess the rock can keep them. I've learned a valuable lesson. You can't just always hit it harder. The hammer.